welcome back to the show. It's time for my favorite segment. It's called Am I Loco? What do we got first?
What's up, Jorge? Am I loco to think that Tiger will win a tournament again?
Tiger Woods shot a 3-under par 69 in his first round of competitive golf since February. Woods had 5 birdies, 2 bogeys at the Hero Challenge in the Bahamas, and Tiger's only 3 back of the lead. So, Marley, is it loco to think that Tiger will actually win a tournament again? Not a major, just a tournament.
A tournament. I don't think it's loco to think that he will win a tournament. He was out for 300. Just imagine you don't do this job for 300 days and you come back. You're going to be a little rusty. He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, if the issues with addiction and the things that he has admitted to are behind him, and if these things, then maybe it can happen. That's just,
I mean, he was on a lot of that stuff when he was performing well. I'm not trying to make a light of that, but that was the reality.
That he should go back?
Well, no, I'm not saying he should go back. I'm just saying that there are people that can be functional on that stuff.
100%.
So I don't even know if that's even an issue, to be honest.
Really don't think so? I think so. I think that it got out of hand. Obviously, that's why he went to rehab. But it's like, I mean, the back is probably the most important issue here.
Right. Well, he also had a bad knee injury, too, for a long time.
Right, but I think we also got to realize, too, Tiger just doesn't lost his sex appeal. Like, even though all his antics, everything he's been through, I mean, valid.
How can you say that?
Valid, his back is what it is.
He doesn't put any fear in anybody.
But he doesn't put no fear in anyone.
Right.
You, no matter what kind of fan you was, you were soccer, football, basketball. When Tiger was on the tube, you ran to just take a glance at him.
I think
we
we
don't
just
care
want
no more. So for me, I think that has a factor. So can he win one? But I don't see him being as relevant as he was before.
I think the mystique is gone a little bit, and that's happened for a long time.
About him.
Right, but as far as the other players are concerned, the other golfers, when Tiger was chasing you, you were like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, and they'd soil themselves in a lot of cases, figuratively, not literally. Maybe literally, I don't know.
I'm very concerned about that.
It happens with football.
Listen, the biggest issue, like in any other sport, is the player's health. And I'm talking about physically. How can your body hold up?
There it is.
Right. It's 4 back surgeries since 2013. That's lingering. I don't care what you say. If he can have one good round of golf, he can't keep it up. If he wins a tournament, I will be extremely surprised. But golf needs him. Golf needs him.
Oh, no question.
But Hercules, look at, and we have 2 athletes on this table.
I'm hurting right now.
George's an athlete.
I was an athlete.
Well, that's right. George does play basketball. But what I mean is the fact that don't ever count the competitive spirit out of one of the top ever.
Yeah, and one tournament.
But I question his motivation at the end of the day, too. What are you really coming back for?
Yeah.
He wants to prove
He's got all the money in the world, right?
He wants to prove Michael Jordan wrong.
Oh, please.
That's what it is. That's it. All right.
All right.
Shall we move on?
What's next?
How about we talk some Lakers?
Am I loco to think the Lakers got a moral victory versus the Warriors?
The young Lakers, they lost in overtime to the Warriors last night, a team that has dominated the NBA, if you haven't heard, the last few years. Brandon Ingram, he scored 32 points, and Lonzo Ball had a double-double. Hercules, is it loco to think that the Lakers got a moral victory?
By the way, sounds like my Theo Lupe up there. It's extremely local. I'll tell you why. There are no moral victories in sports. There are no moral victories in sports. But these kids can learn from that. I'll tell you what, it's a growing experience to be hanging with the likes of Stephen Curry and all those guys.
Yeah.
They're the champs. They're still the champs.
Durant was there, Curry's there. That's right.
You learn more from your failures, but there are no moral victories.
There you go. George, moral victory?
I'm going to say yes, simply because the coach basically said that yesterday. Luke Walton talked about how impressed he was, how happy he was with the way they played defense, how they got after it, how they stayed competitive with this team. They also played without Kyle Kuzma, the young rookie who's their leading scorer.
I'm loving him, by the
who's
way.
their leading scorer right now. So he was missing in the game, too. So Luke felt good about it. He didn't say the words moral victory, but if you actually listen to everything he said, he basically meant all of that, except he didn't use those words.
Yeah, for me, it was a sign of false hope, and I tell you why.
That's it.
Valid.
That's how I felt, too.
Yeah, I understand they played well. Zoe had a good game. Ingram had a good game. But they're nowhere close to being a real relevant team in the West.
No, for sure.
The point is, when you do have that type of rhetoric, and when Luke Walton comes out and say, hey, we did well enough, you're telling your team, well enough is good enough, and that's not good. And so I have a problem with the whole situation.
Yeah.
I think you tell Zoe, hey, we need more out of you. Good day on the court, but we need more out of you.
I think the false hope is what I really believe in. Just because of the fact you did not beat. It's almost like Steph Curry decided to play. At the end, he's like, let's just play a little now. I don't know. Steph Curry wasn't 100%. Kevin Durant wasn't 100%.
He's got a dinged up hand.
I mean, it really isn't. I just don't know.
Look, here's the thing with the Lakers, and we saw this if you go back to Oklahoma City when they first had Westbrook and Durant, okay, when they first played together. Westbrook, his first 20, 25 games was a disaster.
True. Yes.
Okay? Jason Kidd, another guy, first 20, 25 games was a disaster. Very similar to what we're seeing out of Lonzo. Now, Westbrook is clearly way more athletic than Lonzo, but you're starting to see glimpses. We've seen Lonzo have 2 triple-doubles. We saw him have a good game the other night or last night against the Warriors. Brandon Ingram is much more consistent than he was last year. Last year, he was terrible. So this team is slowly but surely on its way back. But it's a long way from being back. Because young teams don't win in that sport. That's not how it works.
There we go.
So what's next?
Am I loco to think that putting Aaron Rodgers on IR was a mistake?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is still at least a couple of weeks away from returning to the Packers lineup, 2, as a matter of fact, after breaking his collarbone back in October. But according to teammate Clay Matthews, Rodgers looks good enough to start this weekend. Quote, I think we probably should have kept him off the IR. So, Willie, is it loco to think that putting Rodgers on the IR was a mistake?
No, it was a mistake. You got to protect the player foremost. And at the end of the day, what you have to realize, too, Aaron is the franchise. You got to protect his body. He's not that old. He's not in the ranks of the Bradys and that. He still has a lot of ball left in him. If you keep him out there and let him try to muscle through some games, he can really wreck himself and possibly for the next season. So I think right now it's a smart move. Let him start. I think they're in the hunt. They can fight it out at the end and possibly make a move for it. But I think it was the right thing to do.
Well, not only that, a broken collarbone, right? Like, this isn't just some sort of, it's great that he's ahead of schedule, but, you know, he is coming back. And also, this happened in week 6.
Right.
This isn't like it happened in the beginning of the season. Like, maybe if it had happened in the beginning of the season, you give it a little bit more time. It's week 6. I don't think so.
I have a PhD in WebMD. And,
how's that
worst thing you
How's
can
that
do?
working?
WebMD told me that it is the most common fracture of all the fractures, the collarbone fracture. So
really?
It's why, yes, it is. So it's why you don't want to put him back in there as quickly as possible. You want to make sure the bone heals properly, because last time I checked, he needs his shoulders, right?
Yep. Yeah,
So
kind of
it's pretty important, and he is the franchise, and this season may be lost. So, I mean, you're going to put him in to try to scramble to try to make the postseason in a really difficult NFC? I don't buy it.
I'm going to give you one name, Martellus Bennett. You think after what Martellus went through there, when he was accusing the Green Bay doctors of accelerating his process to get him on the field, that they're going to rush Aaron Rodgers on the
Hell
field?
no.
No way. It won't happen.
No chance.
Yeah.
And this is the franchise, the hardest position in any sport, quarterback. You protect him from himself.
The question
question
is also when he comes back, what type of Aaron Rodgers are we getting back to?
I think
I think he'll be fine.
I think
once he's back, he'll be
We'll see. We'll see after that first hit.
All right, what's next?
What's next, Vato Loco?
Last one. Am I loco to think that Conor McGregor should retire?
Oh, the Vato Loco speaks also with an Irish accent. UFC President Dana White talked about a possible Conor McGregor comeback, and I quote, try to get up and get punched in the face for a living and you've got $100 million in the bank like Willie Colon? The $100 million man was in court today for a traffic violation for which he was late because he was Instagramming pictures of his outfit and his car. So, George,
we've all been
that's
there.
the favorite part. Is it loco to think that McGregor is going to retire?
Yeah, I think it's local. I think, first of all, in boxing, guys retire and then unretire. And in the
he's
fight
done
game.
that, by the way.
Right, in the fight game, whether it's boxing or MMA. Combat sports, we see this all the time. What Conor should really be worrying about is the fight he got into in Dublin, or in Crumlin, which is just outside of Dublin, in his hometown, where he apparently got into a bar fight, struck a 50-year-old man whose son is one of the biggest mafioso gangsters in all of Ireland.
Wow.
That's something that he should be way more afraid of right now.
That could be like a forced retirement for him. I mean,
so
saying.
Dana White commented on that and said that they've had guys, obviously, in the UFC have some issues with some wise guys before in Vegas, and they've been able to sort that out, so he's hopeful that will happen here. But to me, that's a way bigger story than anything else.
Well, I also think I'm not crazy to think he will retire, and I'll tell you why. Because I think he's worth money. He's worth more money outside the ring right now.
I think you were sitting online.
No, I think he's ready for movies. I think he's ready for endorsements. I think he's ready for a clothing line. Yeah. I think he's ready for the next action hero. He has that type of appeal. Yeah. I think we've seen the best of him in the fight game. I think going against Floyd, it brought in a lot of money. It was good. It was a good spectator event at the end of the day. But what I love about Conor right now is He's $1 million man. He has a smile. He has a swing. He has a sex appeal. Don't go back and try to force a fight where he can lose and possibly lose all that. So I
For
think
me,
he
it's
should
just
stay.
all ego. He'll stay in because of the ego.
He's $100 million man.
There you go.
This is the thing. He wants to fight. He just wants a bigger piece of the pie. He wants what UFC.
Of course.
Yes,
He wants stake
that.
in the ownership.
Of course he does. And I'll tell you what, it's not such a far-fetched idea. The UFC needs him. These fighters, a lot of these fighters, by the way, they fight for the purse. They fight for the bonus. Not exactly when you fight somebody, you're going to make that salary. They make their money after.
And I know that I'm a casual viewer of combat sports, and you know that, especially MMA and like not of the UFC. He's one of the few names that I know.
Yep.
So then that shows you
He's
like
mainstream.
how Tiger, like
He's mainstream.
he's made it very mainstream.
He's certainly
for me,
crossed over, right?
So it's kind of like you feel like they need him. So
Yeah,
there we go.
he's certainly crossed over. So I think that he'll eventually fight again. I think it's local.
It's local to think that he'll retire. So coming up, let's talk about a little college football playoffs. They're coming down this weekend. So we're going to discuss who's going to get in. Do I do Ohio State now? No, I don't even mention the Buckeyes.
Yeah, probably not.